Hey guys, what's going on this morning? It's about 5:30 a.m. here on Tuesday, and I'm going to do a video here on the high pressure fuel pump for the 2022 Plus VBW RX. I'm going to go over a couple issues I had with install, show you the correct way to get these pump installed the right way without tearing the O-ring on it like this one here, and just going to go over some basic stuff here that other videos and install instructions did not cover. And it's just been kind of a headache here the last couple weeks after I installed the Boost Control Performance Turbo along with their X-Series intake, and then the Nostrum high pressure fuel pump here, which is on the left. OEM high pressure pump here is on the right. So first things first, I'll get into the differences in these pumps, which the only difference you can really see on them is on the end here, on the piston part that pushes up and down on the pump for the pressure, the fuel to come out. So only difference I could see was on the bottom here. This is the Nostrum one, and then the OEM one there. So that's the only difference I could see in it. Pick up the OEM pump here, and then you can see on the pump here there's this little groove right here. This is where the rubber O-ring goes. So when I first removed this the stock pump here a couple weeks ago and installed the Nostrum pump, the O-ring that came on the Nostrum pump seemed like it fit in that groove kind of loose. It wasn't a super tight fit compared to the stock pump. I didn't think much of it, went to install the pump, and then after I finished the turbo install, get everything else done I needed to on the car, went for a test drive, got some data logs done, brought the car back home, and then got underneath it and saw there's a whole bunch of oil leaking down the driver's side of the engine, and followed the oil up to see where it was coming from. Sure enough, it was coming from underneath where the high pressure fuel pump mounts. Pulled the Nostrum pump off, found that sure enough O-ring was like cut in half, it was ripped, oil was getting by and then coming out underneath the flange. After I pulled the pump off, I decided to do a Google search here of this part number. If you can see, it's H136-0571-2. So a quick Google of that part number brings up that it's for a 2015 to a 2021 WRX. So first thing I thought was, okay, maybe it's because it's the wrong pump. It's for the FA20 engine, the fuel pump. So I thought maybe that was why the O-ring got ripped or tore or whatever, so it's the wrong pump. Originally bought this pump on a Black Friday deal back in November from PLM. Reached out to their customer service, took a couple days for them to get back. They tried to tell me it was the correct pump. If you look at any pictures of the FA20 pumps, they have like spacers that are built into the flange here. This didn't have the spacers built into it, so they told me it was the correct pump. And then I also reached out to Nostrum and took a couple days more to hear back from them. And they told me that it was the incorrect pump. It was for the FA20. So a couple hours later, then I got another email back from Nostrum, and they said that after they did looked up the serial number here in their system for production, that it was in fact was the correct pump for the FA24, and somehow the FA20 part number got laser etched onto this pump once production was complete on it. So good news, didn't have to send the pump back, didn't have to worry about getting a replacement. They said it was the correct pump. So after I pulled that Nostrum pump off and was waiting to hear back to see if it was a correct pump or not, I put the stock fuel pump back on and got everything hooked back up, went for another test drive, came back home, looked underneath the car, same thing again, oil leaking all down the driver's side of the engine again. And sure enough, it was coming from underneath the flange on the OEM pump now. So Couldn't figure out what was going on. Pulled the pump back out. Sure enough, another O-ring, same exact thing happened to it. Cut in half, ripped, whatever oil was leaking from under the flange. So did a little more digging on this as far as installs on high pressure pumps, and some other videos I found on YouTube states that when you install the pump, you want to make sure that flange is flush with the top of the engine. So both times when I installed these pumps, there was a gap like that much where it wasn't sitting flush on the flange. So first time doing a high pressure pump, I wasn't sure how all this worked, and then come to find out, you have this piece here that sits down in the cylinder area, I guess, where the pump goes down in, and then this piece here contacts the bottom of the piston part in this spring, and this roller piece right here, that roller piece right there goes on the camshaft lobe. So every time that camshaft lobe rotates, this part inside goes up and down, which controls this piston here and the PSI, or the pressure for the fuel pump. So then each time I was installing these pumps, and depending on the position of the camshaft lobe, this piece here was pretty much pushed all the way up at the top of the stroke, and then trying to install that pump where it wasn't sitting flush on top, and then pretty much just putting the screws in, or the bolts going back and forth trying to tighten it down evenly, that was causing the O-ring to rip or tear in half. So I'll show you what you need to do if that happens. So on this car, I have a fluid damper installed on it right there. That's a 19 millimeter nut that's on there. So what I did was take the ratchet here with the socket, put it on the bolt for the crankshaft pulley, and then slowly started turning the engine over. So when I start doing that, you can see this piece in there, it will start slowly moving down, right? So you want to rotate the engine till this piece, or you can see it moving, that it's all the way at the bottom stroke on that camshaft lobe. Then that will give you the clearance to install that high pressure pump, and then that flange will sit flush on top of the engine. And I will show you what I'm talking about here if you can see down in there. All right, so there you can see the hole that it goes into, and then you can see the camshaft lobe right there on the top, okay? So when that rotates, it moves that piece up and down on that roller, and then you can kind of see on the side there's like that slot or that groove right there. So it can only go in one way when you put this in. There's this piece right here on the side which goes into that groove, and then this slide it in. Make sure you put engine oil on the outside of this as well as the inside. You want to make sure you have plenty down here where that contacts the bottom of that spring piston on the fuel pump. So like I said, make sure this is all the way at the bottom, and when you put that pump on, make sure it sits flush on the top of that flange. Otherwise you're going to have problems with the O-ring getting torn like I did. So now that I got that figured out, I just got the O-rings, came in last night. I'm working third shift right now, so I get home from work about 5:30 in the morning, which isn't fun. So I need to get this car back together, get it done, and I'll show you the part numbers for the O-rings. You can see right here from Subaru, 806-931120. These are about, I think, $6 a piece. I got 2 of them just in case another one rips or tears, I have a spare. But hopefully, crossing my fingers, I have no issues this time around. I already have that camshaft lobe set at the lowest point in there. So I just need to put a little bit more oil on that piece, drop it in, get the O-ring on the Nostrum pump, put plenty of engine oil on that O-ring, and drop that pump back in, hook everything back up, get the oil cooler lines back on. Should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed back on the car. I'll follow up probably later this week. I gotta go do some more data logs again for Clark, trying to get this new turbo in tune and everything good to go on the car. So I'll follow up later this week on everything again, and let you know what's going on. Thanks.